Hi, I'm Simone W. Johnson Smith, and welcome to the Immigrant Experience in America. Are you a professional new to the United States and struggling to monetize the expertise you brought across the seas? Are you feeling misunderstood and out of touch because you're struggling to understand the unstated rules of the American culture? Each week, we'll take an in-depth look at the positive contributions immigrants are making to the American culture, marketplace, and life. Our intention is to serve as a bridge from your culture to the American culture, giving you a roadmap of tools and the language to understand the unstated rules of the American culture. Let's get started. Hello, listeners, and thanks for joining us again on another episode of the Immigrant Experience in America, where we amplify and humanize the experiences of immigrants in the United States and around the world. Today, we have for you a Haitian American to discuss what the Haitian-American experience has been and current state of affairs in Haiti. Her name is Gherianne Ulysse. Welcome, Gherianne.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
All right. So if you don't mind telling us a bit about your professional life, your personal life, and what brings you to the United States.
Yes, ma'am. Starting with the personal life, I am Gherianne Ulysse. I am a mother of one. My son is Christian. He's 7 years old. And he's practically the reason why I sacrifice a lot, because my dream is to make the world a better place for him, literally, just a kinder place for him, to be more specific. And my parents, thank goodness, they're still living, and they're the biggest reason why I'm who I am today. Growing up in Haiti is very common that you have people, whether they just made it to the middle class or they're in the upper middle class or the upper class, there's a tendency to cultivate a superiority complex in your children. Oh, you can't play with this child because he's poor. You can't date this one because he's poor. And I'm grateful that my parents, how the song started from the bottom, now we're here. And then everybody switches. And I'm grateful that my parents didn't switch up. Both of my parents, thank goodness, I'm happy that they're still alive to see the results of the kindness and the respect that they cultivated in me, because a lot of them don't get to see their children blossom in the values that they instilled in them. I was born in the States. I was an anchor baby. You know how that goes. I don't have to explain that. So I was an anchor baby because my mom understood early on that Haiti is an unstable country. She was like, okay, if anything happens, I know I can just put you guys on a plane as American citizens and you'll be okay. That was the best decision she made, even though it was a difficult one for her at the time. And because out of all her friends and family, they all stayed in Haiti to have that support system. You know how supportive we are when people are giving birth. But she practically went alone in the States because my dad was already showing signs of being involved in politics at the time. So she's like, the way this country is, let me make sure I have an exit strategy for my children. Like I said, being a good decision, because in 2004, my father, who was an advisor to the president at the time, when the president got overthrown, everyone from that political party had to practically flee. If you were caught, you or your family, they were going after you, literally. And so it was very easy for my mom to put us on a plane and go travel with us to the States. So that's how I ended up in the States as political refugees, pretty much. We were on political asylum for 4 years until the next party came and it was safe for us to go back to Haiti. It was a hard transition for myself. One, it was in February. I was like, what in the world? I did not know it could be that cold ever. In New York, the bullying was very annoying. They're immigrants' children, right? Because we're in Esau. But they were just as mean. And it was hard not knowing if my dad was alive and then coming to school. It was a private Christian school. A lot of in the Haitian community, we believe in private education, private Christian education. And it was not a positive experience with the bullying and stuff like that. I never fit in early on in the States. We left New York, finished 8th grade in New York. It was too cold for us. We went to Florida, which is why there's a lot of Haitians in Florida. My father didn't like it because he says the lifestyle of the Haitians in Florida wasn't what he wanted for us. He's like, nope, you need to go somewhere where they push you. In Atlanta at the time, the Black community was really on the up and up. So he wanted something more rigorous for us. The education in Florida wasn't the best. I think at the time it was like number 40 something of all the states. So we've been in Georgia since 2005. And yeah, I went into teaching, which carries into my professional life. I didn't want to be a medical doctor like my mom wanted me to be. I can't see people suffer, typical Caribbean. And I went into teaching because I've heard a lot of abuse in the classroom for children. To me, schools are reflections of society. So if we're okay with violence and ignorance in the classroom from the teachers, then no wonder society is the way it is. Because after your home, your teacher, your school is your next safe place. So I wanted to teach and kind of sort of help remove trauma from the learning experience for children. So I went into education, but made sure that I taught in Title I schools, which is low-income schools. And 2018, I visited my father in Haiti, and I noticed that the hospital wasn't doing good. So I made the choice to stop teaching and protect his legacy, because there was no way, after dedicating so many years to the hospital, and my grandmother ended up dying at the hospital, his mom, because we ran out of oxygen in 2018. So I'm like, okay, if your own mother dies at your hospital, that means you've gone as far as you could on your own. My other siblings, how the younger ones, they weren't interested in continuing, or it's more internet stuff for them, apps, whatever. So if I didn't step in at that time, then the hospital would shut down. And it was personal, because I'm like, no, he sacrificed so much for the hospital. I can't let that happen. And then noticing how much it meant to the community. There was nowhere else. Cité Soleil, the biggest ghetto inner city in Haiti, all you have to do is Google it, and you'll understand the importance of the hospital in Cité Soleil. No one wanted to really help him. So the past before I stepped in, it was just him. He would invest up to 40% of his profit into the hospital to keep it going. And no one else wanting to help. We couldn't count on the government. There's no government grants here. There's no SBA. I was his next line of defense to keep the hospital open. So I quit teaching, and not knowing what I was doing. If that wasn't the vision for my life, I just wanted my daycare, and God gave me a whole hospital. Yeah, I founded the foundation, and what we've done is bring resources to the hospital. Every time I would go to Haiti on a quarterly basis, I would just listen to what the needs are, and then go back to America and be like, hey, to my friends, like, hey guys, this is what I need. Can you help? And then $20 here, $30 there. My friends would donate. And then over time, as people saw that, hey, I donated $30 for her to do this, and it actually happened, and I would send pictures. So I was like, okay, Papi, what next can we do? What else do you need? And then he's like, well, I need this. And then I'd go back, and I built the trust factor, because not a lot of people trust Haiti. So I slowly built the trust factor to the point to where now UNICEF was able to find out about our work, and they are our biggest partner now. Doctors Without Borders, the big guys are coming in, but it took years of just showing people that we do what we say we're going to do. And what I tell people is that I'm not going to put my father's reputation at risk, because in Haiti, it's so easy to hear people's names. A lot of people my age can't take center stage like I am, because of the decisions that their parents made. So he spent 30 clean years in politics in Haiti. And I told people, I'm not trying to tarnish his reputation, nor am I trying to tarnish mine, nor my son, because I'm already telling my son, when mommy's old, are you going to help her with the hospital? He's like, yeah. So this is a legacy, and I'm not trying to tarnish it at all. So it took years of trust building, but I'm grateful. It's been difficult. A lot of emotional intelligence had to go in. My dad early on was like, if you think you're about to come to Haiti crying for everything and judgmental, don't do it. So he put me in my place. He wanted to make sure I had to earn his trust and respect. And I've earned it. And I'm getting the keys to the hospital. I'm still being trained, but I've earned the trust and respect. So that's me in a nutshell.
So I have a few follow-up questions. I'm thinking for listeners who don't know what an anchor baby is, can you explain what an anchor baby is?
Yes, the anchor baby is an immigrant who comes to the United States towards the last trimester. or whatever country where there are better benefits, better opportunities, a higher quality of life. And you know that in cases of emergency, a government isn't going to leave its citizen out, and they're less likely to separate mothers and their children. So it's for people who love their country but understand the instability of their country or the missed opportunities that their countries can never offer. So anchor babies are the children born in the States or any developed country. Once they're at 1 month old, we get our passports, they go back to the country, and hopefully we never have to go back to that place. But in my case, we did have to go back.
I've heard the term birth tourism, right? So there's folks who come from different places to like more developed places like the US or Canada, the UK, could be other places in Europe or Asia, because they can afford to come in, and they, it's literally like a legal thing where I've heard of cases of women from Russia coming over in droves. They stay in a hotel, they have big money, and they give birth here so their children get the citizenship of whichever country they want. And then they just go. I mean, they go back to their place and they live their lives there, but their children get the citizenship of whichever country they choose to do that birth tourism. So it sounds kind of like a similar thing that you're explaining.
Yes, they're more financially stable than the anchor babies.
So I wonder, just for listeners who may not know the history of Haiti, who was in government during the time when your dad was advising the president, and what was the situation politically that kind of led to the coup d'etat?
The president at the time was President Jean-Bertrand Aristide. The corruption at the time was getting out of hand. Instead of everyone coming together and create an agreement on how we can get out of this political crisis, they just rather not speak to each other and argue with each other, and they let things deteriorate to the point where the population had enough, and the rioting got out of hand, the kidnapping started to get out of hand, the unnecessary violence started to get out of hand. America had to step in to bring some stability, and at the time, supposedly, the way to do that was to encourage a coup d'etat.
Oh, so there was some outside influence.
Oh, there's always. Nothing in Haiti gets done politically. And that's what I'd like for people to understand. Nothing in Haiti gets done without Canada, USA, and France practically okaying it. Because we have politicians who, spineless, I call them spineless politicians, who cannot make decisions without. They're yes men. They're yes men. You just give them the money and they'll do whatever. The whole concept of putting your nation first is with the types of leaders that we've had, it's impossible. So if America promises a couple thousands, a couple million at the expense of the country, they'll do it. They'll do it.
In the history books, what is Haiti known for? I'm thinking about Toussaint. I'm thinking about the relationship with France, and then, payments that has been made over the years that probably contributed to the economic situation that the country still is in. Can you explain and put a little bit of context on that?
Yeah. When people bring up Haiti, or Google Haiti, one of the things that you'll hear us say is that the first free Black nation, we were colonized by France, and everyone was really fighting for Haiti. We're an amazing central location in the Caribbean, practically between South and North America. Amazing weather. So it's always been a place for that all the colonizing countries really wanted, but France had the bigger say for longer. And in 1793, the Independence War started. It ended in 1804. And so 11 years, but everyone always talks about 1804. But to me, the emphasis should be on 1793. But because the way I understand it, it's the last time we really came together. The dark-skinned Haitians, the mulatto Haitians, etc. And 1804, and once we got that independence, we started to turn on each other, the light skin, the mixed, the dark skin, and we never got that back. And so yeah, I the very first person to get assassinated, one of independent heroes, was because he wanted to unite everyone. I can't remember because I left so long ago, but he mentioned it like traitors. He knew he would be betrayed and he would die by betrayal, and he ended up getting betrayed by his own because we couldn't unite anymore. We couldn't unite anymore since 1793. And France had us pay for our own independence because, of course, we ruined their plantations and they lost access to their investment. So we practically paid $21 billion. We had to pay them for our independence. As soon as we got our independence, nobody wanted to trade with us. So America shut us out. I think Russia was the only one. Russia was the only country that acknowledged our independence and didn't place an embargo on Haiti. So as soon as we got our independence, none of these other colonizing countries wanted to acknowledge our independence and no one traded with us. And then we had to pay $21 billion and some change. So we imploded financially. And because we were a slave country, not everyone had access to education. So it was just poor decision after poor decision after poor decision. Fast forward 80s, 90s, we didn't have a democracy at the time, but Americans during the Papa Doc and Baby Doc era, but starting in the 90s, democracy was pushed in Haiti, but no one really put any emphasis on education. So democracy became the worst thing that happened to Haiti because the presidents at the time, none of them were able to put Haiti first. It became easy to buy votes and stuff like that because the population wasn't educated enough to vote. So democracy is used as a double-edged sword in Haiti. But big picture, that's how it's been. We've paid for our own independence. We haven't been able to recover. Every time there's elections, we don't choose our presidents. And if the president or a political candidate seems to be able to, motivate people to do better, something happens to them, if you know what that means. Or there's a coup d'etat. But I blame Haitians first because someone in Haiti had to say yes first to open the door for all that international corruption. I always blame us first, but there's definitely some international iron fists and national iron fists that play a big role in how we've been since our independence.
And plus, Haiti has gone through a few natural disasters, right? I remember the earthquake was huge. And then the most recent assassination of what's the current state? What are things like there? You've been going down quite frequently. Mm-hmm. How is it to do business? How is it to find food? What's the security situation? How is it for everyday people?
Every day we leave it up to God, to be honest. Security wise, up until maybe 2 weeks ago, I see they're trying to put the police back in the street. But since the assassination of the president, even before that, the gangs has been out of control. The amount of guns that supposedly never get detected in the US ports. The politicians and the private business owners who funded these gangs, they've lost control of these gangs. So we're all practically at the mercy of 12 to 18-year-old teenagers who are already hotheads and happy to have a gun in their hands. Because a lot of people dehumanize them. I try to add the psychological aspect to it. Everyone understands the school shooter because in the States, because his daddy wasn't here, but nobody can understand that same Haitian kid who chooses this lifestyle year after year of dehumanization. So that's one thing I do want to add, the human aspect to these young men who have had far worse experiences in life than these school shooters had, but no one wants to give them grace. The speech is always like, oh, come and shoot them all. But I'm like, dang, but we want therapy for the school shooters? And anyway.
A much deeper conversation there.
Yeah. It's so annoying. So we're at the mercy of these young boys, to go back to the point. We're at the mercy of these young boys. It's stressful. It doesn't seem like the unelected prime minister who stepped in after the president's assassination, he barely comes on TV. When he comes on TV, he's like, well, good luck. That's pretty much how he speaks. And the police force, the few good police officers who are left, they don't get the supplies that they need. This is nothing but faith pretty much at this point. You leave your home and you're just like, God, you know exactly why I'm doing this. If this is my time, thank you for an amazing journey. but please don't let it be my time. And the thing is about Haiti, the people who are still here, still fighting for better days, holding on for better days, and trying to keep their businesses open. The concept of dying isn't the problem, is the idea that there's no justice afterwards. It's just you died, and everyone knows who might have ordered the hit. Everyone knows it's a Port-au-Prince. I keep saying Haiti, but I really want to say Port-au-Prince because Port-au-Prince controls the entire country, and it's not fair to say Haiti because it is really the incompetent millionaires, billionaires, and politicians who are funding all of this. Every time I say Haiti, scratch that and think Port-au-Prince. But unfortunately, now the gangs have spread everywhere, and we know the ones in Haiti right now. We know that these things happen in cycles. Every time this election season, it's intimidation season, but it's never been how it's been now because we've never had that many guns smuggled. And you have the Minister of Justice, the Department of Justice, the head person of the Minister of Justice 2.5 or 3 months ago. He was caught with containers bringing guns and ammo.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like you're here, you're literally like, whatever it is that you believe in, you got to believe in it. Because there's nowhere to turn to for help. And the people who genuinely can help, they're too scared to do something about it. Yeah, so politically, there's nothing. So, of course, a lot of businesses have shut down. So a lot of the unemployment rate, I can safely say for the whole country is 90%. Since the president's assassination, our good, which is our monetary system, currency, our good has devaluated, has so much value. It's ridiculous. We import almost everything. We export and produce nothing. There's no agriculture in Haiti. We import most of everything. Businesses are shutting down. There's no jobs. The people who can leave are leaving. The people who can't stay are losing hope. A lot of people who can't afford to leave by plane because they don't have visa or passport, they're the ones that we're hearing about dying by the dozens. They're the ones that you saw at the border. I think it was May of last year, I believe.
Yes, at the US border.
At the US borders. So these are the people who just couldn't hang on in Haiti anymore. They safely, thank God, made it to South America. And somebody said the US is giving papers, and then they just tried to get to the US. It's hard, even for us who are financially blessed, it's hard. Every time somebody comes over, even if you think they got it, we offer food. No one's working. No one's working. And if we didn't have this hospital and UNICEF coming in and stuff like that, it'd be hard for us too. So we try to bless people as much as we can, but it's hard. But the past 2 weeks, there's more traffic in the streets. Gas has been practically controlled by gangs since like September 18-ish. And last week, November 3rd was when the government finally showed display of force to kick the gangs out of the area that controlled the gas terminal. But really, from September 15 up until last November 3rd, we were paying gas up to $36 a gallon on the black market because the gangs controlled it. None of the gas stations were open, so you had to go through them. And just like the food prices increased by 30%, they had free range to increase the gas. Yeah, school hasn't been open. School was supposed to open September 5th. The upper middle class children who have access to internet, these things, they can do virtual school. But the children, the low-income children, the inner city kids, which are the children my foundation focuses on, the hospital focuses on, they haven't been in school. And these are the kids who are going to be easily manipulated years later with $10 to go kill someone, $50 to go burn a building. They don't even understand who they are as an individual because they've never been to school. They don't even understand who they are as Haitians because everything is taught in French and barely anyone understands French. It's like there's a war against education, there's a war against healthcare, there's a war against housing, against the lower class. Just like in the 2010 earthquake, all these people who lost their homes, low-income people who lost their homes were never rebuilt with the money that was donated to these big organizations. They created more ghettos, and it's those kids who are 15, 20, 23 years old holding the gun. So I see them trying to do the same thing again now, so that in 15, 20 years, we have the same gang problems. And there's a war against the lower class. It's heartbreaking. And now everyone's like, oh my God, why are they doing this to us? And they're killing everybody. They have no mercy. And I'm like, y'all, man, they watched their grandparents suffer, their moms suffer, they're suffering now. And they're at the age where they get to see things on the internet. They have desires for themselves and their children, and nothing's going to change. And now we want them to care when we've not cared for them for generations. I'm like, I don't understand how Haitians keep thinking people, like our actions today, we can't disconnect them to tomorrow.
Wow. I know there's another side to Haiti because cruise ships are coming in. There's a wealthy side to the island that people are living very well there. What is that world like?
Then that's why I was saying not to say Haiti, to say Port-au-Prince. These are the other departments. We have 10, instead of states, we have 10 departments. And Port-au-Prince is practically the one that controls everything. If the fuel doesn't come out of Port-au-Prince, no one gets it. It's because the oligarchs who control everything. You have like 2% of the populations who are multimillionaires and billionaires. They control every single sector that you can think of. No one's ever going to go after them. Rumor has it that they're the ones who fund everything that you see happening. But who's getting punished is the foot soldiers. It's never them. So what you see up north, the cruise ships, they're in northern Haiti. And the cruise ships go to Labadie, which is a plot of land that I can't remember what president, if they sold it or they rented it, but Haitians don't have access to it. So it is very limited up there. But other than Labadie up north, there's really no other touristic opportunities. But even the wealthy now, those who fund it, they have money to wait it out. This can keep happening and getting worse. They boast about making millions in Haiti and never investing a dime. It's not like in the United States where you have a successful business owner who's like, yo, I'm grateful, let me give back. No, they don't care about any of that stuff. So even the super wealthy, they've either left Haiti because now it's gotten too uncomfortable for them. Everyone's feeling it. Whether you're wealthy or not, everyone's feeling it because we've all been stuck home. These young kids, they don't care. They'll shoot at anybody. They'll try to get anybody. And so whether you're rich or not, it's rough right now.
So it sounds like there's really no middle class, basically. So
it's
either really rich, really poor, and no middle class.
If there's a Haitian middle class, they're elsewhere. They're in France, they're in Canada. They bust their tails to be in the middle class, and they never come back to Haiti. And you can't blame them. They've suffered so much. And that's one of my dreams with the foundation, is to recreate the middle class. With our doctors, we only have 111, but I'm like, okay, how can we increase their pay? And just trying to, it's not much. I wish I could be my own SBA, but we're doing what we can to have as many young people as possible in the medical field, in the education field, in the skilled trade field, create opportunities for them to go to school and work for us, and we can pay them decent wages.
Yes, of course. At least an incentive for them to stay, because I'm sure there are opportunities elsewhere as a medical doctor.
Our hospital for months has been the only hospital in Port-au-Prince that's been fully operational and growing. Many, even the ones recognized internationally before us, they've all shut down or operating just on a part-time basis. But no, there's really no opportunities unless there's those big international organizations that have projects that they're running, and that has been limited. Again, no one's really going out. No one's risking their life as much to go out for anything because of these gang members. Yeah, so there's one of our tenants here, and he was leaving Haiti 2 weeks ago, and he broke down. He was like, I'm an engineer, Gherianne. I'm an engineer, and I'm having to leave, not because I don't want to work. I'm ready to work. I'm ready to do anything, but there's no opportunities for me, and I'm going to the States. I'm going to New York. It's going to be cold. And he broke down. And there are no opportunities. There are none.
It sounds really stressful and really dire there on the
Yes.
island. My sincere sympathies. And I'm just wondering, so generally though, for like the Haitian world, in a world where things are flourishing, I mean, I'm hoping that there's somewhere on the island where the culture is flourishing. What is it like? Like what fun things that people do? What's the food like, the culture, music? You did mention earlier that schools use French as their teaching language, but most of the population does not speak French. So can you speak a little bit to what the language that's spoken in Haiti?
First thing is Haitians aren't violent people, contrary to popular belief, because 2 years ago, these same young boys weren't doing this. To get to where you see now in the propaganda, the news, and all that stuff, it took a lot of money to incentivize them to get to that point. But usually we are very loving, welcoming people. It's unfortunate that compassion hasn't been cultivated. They can't reciprocate what they haven't had. But on a good day, house parties, we go to each other's homes, good music. That's what fun looks like now in Port-au-Prince. I can only speak in Port-au-Prince. On the days things seem calm, you go to each other's parties, but right now there's no restaurants. You don't really go to restaurants. There are no clubs, no nothing. But when things were okay, we go to the beach every weekend. Every weekend there's public beaches. The people who can't afford it, like it's so cute. You would see them like 12 in the back pickup in the car, just having a good time. We're all just going to the beach anytime. And if you could afford it, you go to the resorts, or you go up to the mountains and music. We're very artistic, very, very artistic. Everything we do revolves around Haitian music, good music. But it's been months since we haven't been able to do that. It's just try to make it to your neighbor as quickly as possible, and everyone's tries to be home by 5 o'clock. But when everything's okay, Haitians are at the beach as much as possible. We're tourist local. We go to different departments, go to rivers, go to waterfalls. Like, we're very connected to nature, very, very connected to nature. And it's a shame to see that we're losing that. And yes, school education is used as a weapon, like I say, because if you have a democracy with people that you can influence to do anything, it's not really a democracy. But Americans love to push that word. They're spreading democracy around the world, but they're putting none of the infrastructures in place to ensure that it's a constructive democracy like in their country. It's just democracy. We're going to pretend everybody can vote, but let's make sure the education system sucks enough so they can believe anything that they believe, that we say or that we put out. So French is used as a primary, they call it the official language, but Creole, Haitian Creole, which is a combination of French, a little bit of Portuguese, like a little bit of all the languages of the colonizers that were in Haiti, and the slaves combined them all in their original African languages. They created Haitian Creole. Haitian Creole is an actual language, it's not a patois. We have rules. Like I tell people, I remember a book I read in school. Patois is just like Creole, but there's no written rules. So Papa Doc, which was the dictator, he formalized our Haitian patois into Haitian Creole by adding an alphabet, grammatical, syntactic rules, and stuff like that. So, but it's not spoken in schools. Children get beaten in schools for speaking it with each other. They use French as an indication of status and knowledge, where even if you know what you're talking about, the second you say it in Creole, you're not taken seriously. But the second you say it in French, even if you're saying nothing. So yeah, even our own language is used against us in Haiti.
And the music, is it compa?
Yes, ma'am. The music is compa. And there's the different types of compa, the compa love and the hype compa. And we have a tubadu, which is almost like Cuban, a mix between Cuban and Brazilian style music in Haiti.
Right. And
la
food,
bodai.
right? I'm thinking about black rice. Are there other things that are pretty popular there?
Yes, black rice, which is mushroom. You boil the mushroom and then the water becomes black, and then you boil the rice in the black thing. Black rice and beans. Griot, which is fried pork. Tasso, which is fried tasso cabrit, which is fried cabrit, Jesus Christ, goat, tasso bœuf, which is fried beef. A lot of our food is fried because electricity is a luxury in Haiti. So fried foods spoil less than boiled food. So because a lot of people don't have access to
Refrigerated.
refrigerators, yeah, refrigerator, or even if you have it, there's no electricity. So we fry food a lot. So our health, there's a lot of high blood pressure in Haiti, a lot of high blood pressure. We see that a lot at the hospital, especially in the low-income communities, a lot. But food, well, every Sunday in January 1st, we have soup joumou, which is a kind of sort of pumpkin soup, our independent soup. And in Haiti, it's kind of sweet. You'll see Saturday is our bouillon day. And then Sundays is our soup day. Wednesday is, I don't know how everyone kind of sort of did it. It became a thing. But we all kind of sort of have specific national dishes that we cook in our homes nationally. But Saturday is usually bouillon. And then Sunday is usually soup. And then Fridays is like the fried food, cheat day type stuff for the family.
So another question that I think has a gap there is, you mentioned that your dad worked for, I think it's President Aristide, but then the hospital got started. Did he study medicine? What's the story behind starting the hospital?
No, he did not study medicine. Neither did I. My mom is the only one who's a nurse. It really started in the 80s. He was studying to become a priest. At the time, the Catholic Church was heavily involved in community development. So a lot of people around that time, they went into Catholic Church to become nuns and priests to be able to give back to their communities or whatever communities they were assigned to. He was assigned to Cité Soleil to develop an agricultural program. And during the agricultural program, that internship, he noticed that there were no medical centers when the farmers got hurt, or if a farmer's kid got sick. So he's like, okay, him and the other nuns, the young men and young women studying to become nuns and priests, they're like, okay, let's just do a little center clinic. They put their money together, they opened the clinic, put money together to pay people, or they had people volunteer a few days a week. And early 90s, the situation in Haiti, that's where Aristide became president the first time. And the situation politically started to deteriorate. He had a coup d'etat then too. All the other nuns and priests left. It was too dangerous for them. So Cité Soleil was always poor, but it wasn't always dangerous. It wasn't until the 90s where all the sugar oligarchs, they started to shut down all their businesses at once. And all these people, they lost their jobs. And of course, no income, then violence rises. So, but he was the only one. He decided he wasn't going to leave, shut down the clinic, but he had to leave seminary school. His father died when he was 23. So all his brothers and sisters, all 10 of them went under his care. So the income from seminary school wasn't enough from that internship. So he quit and became an engineer, worked and built a good majority of the roads in Port-au-Prince. And every time, whatever jobs he could get, up to 40% of the profit, he invested it into the hospital. Because it's in Cité Soleil, people would tell us, it's too dangerous and it's not worth it. Why are you doing this? He's like, whoa, like these are people who live there. The news tells you about gangs, violence. But just like in the ghetto, you have that single mom who's doing everything she can to keep her kid out of trouble. Or those brothers and sisters who lost their parents, and that big brother, big sister is doing everything she can. So the media has us think about one aspect, but there's everything else behind it. And my dad is like, I'm not leaving them. So, and then over the years, little by little, he added on to the hospital. But like I said, when I came in 2018, I'm like, all right, he has the skeleton. It's time for me to create efficient systems for things to get better. So that's how he got the hospital.
So I'm wondering, when you transitioned after the coup d'etat, and you moved with mom to the US, what was it like adjusting? Did you speak English? What was it like adjusting to the US culture from Haiti after leaving?
It was hard. Adjusting was hard. She thought she was doing well. I appreciate now thinking that now that I'm a mom. She didn't tell us we were leaving indefinitely. She was like, oh, let's just go say bye. We're going for the weekend, for Carnival weekend, while we're packing all of that stuff. And I didn't pay attention. We would do that. We'd just go to New York or go to Florida and come back. And I was like, okay, that's odd, but I just left it at that. Why are we going to say bye to everyone? Like, why is everyone crying? But again, you're not thinking about it. So it was especially hard because I wasn't prepared for that. And we did know a little bit of English. My parents, every summer, they would send us to summer camps in the States. The schools that we went to taught English. It was a hard adjustment emotionally because I kept waiting to go back. And I think maybe it had to happen that way because I never got to say goodbye. I've always wanted to go back. And that cord was never cut, thank God. So yeah, it was a hard adjustment. The bullying, like I said. And when I moved to Georgia, I was walking to school. When Haitians go to the States, we call each other just come. Like, I just got here, it's just come. So I was a just come walking to school, and I can see this truck. It was a camouflage, a Jeep Wrangler with the tops out. And I'm walking to school, and there's two white boys in the Jeep, and they spit at us, and they say, "Go back to Africa," N-word with the GGER. And I'm like, whoa, that was my first time realizing I was Black.
When you moved to Georgia?
In Georgia, Swanee, Georgia, 2005, August 2005, because school opened like August 6th. And that experience, I was like, wait a minute now, I'm what? What is that? And because we've always been Haitians. And Haitians, I have to say that culturally, we uphold ourselves to a certain standard of acting, dressing, and to show. They always try to show that we're not the same as African Americans in terms of how we behave and how we dress and culturally the things that we value. And then when I moved to the States, I'm like, white people don't care. They just see your skin and that's it. So that was my first wake-up call that, okay, this is not a friendly place. And that day I knew that no matter what, I would never always live in the States. I would never have an American dream because this is not home. That day is why I'm in Haiti today, because it became the day I needed an exit strategy. I wanted to go back home, and I was not going to allow myself to be subjected to that type of disrespect ever again. Yeah, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. Going to college in South Georgia, it was a great experience, but you see the discrimination, the professors. Yeah, it wasn't easy, but everything had to happen to solidify my resolve to go back home. Because I refuse to die. One, I'm not going to die in the cold. It wasn't easy, but it needed to happen because I wouldn't be here if it didn't happen exactly the way it happened.
That was probably quite traumatizing for a young lady, trying to just focus on going to school and to deal with such heavy issues, right?
Yes. And not even understanding why. I'm like, what did we do to you? I'm just walking to school. And like, go back to Africa. I've never been there. And I would have been there if you didn't take me out of there. So
right, yeah. Another story for another day. Yeah.
So it's just been like that. That day, yeah, it set the tone for the rest of my life.
Have you been able to show up then? So you went to university, graduated, decided you wanted to do teaching. Have you been able to really show up as your authentic Haitian immigrant self, in the United States? And, you mentioned bullying when you were in this private school after moving from Haiti. Like, how do people, recently, after moving away from home, I've been quite exposed to a number of things that I wasn't aware of socially. And then when I moved to Georgia, somebody started telling me that, like in the Northeast, like there's somewhat of, how do I say, a stereotype or a rift between Blacks and way Haitians are treated. If you can speak to some of that, and why were you bullied?
I mean, why do kids bully? It's just everyone's operating from a place of pain. Like I said, I was in an ESOL class, and I'm guessing we were all hurting. My parents, it was a transition period for all of us. And instead of making sure we had psychologists and all that stuff, they just put us all in the ESOL class. So our emotional needs weren't met. Like I said, Haitians always try to show that they hold themselves up to a higher standard. And I think that creates a rift. They can be very judgmental. And that creates a rift, especially like now when we realize when you grow up in Haiti and everyone's Black and everyone's thriving, and then you go somewhere else and then there's that separation, they lump you together with every other nationality. And you see how the media is portraying the African American community. So our parents, as a defense mechanism, they really try to separate us. In trying to help us not be treated as NIGGERs, like, they see all the Black people, they create a separation, a superiority complex between the Haitian community and the African American communities. It's deeper than the children. I can't say why I was being bullied, but I can say everyone was operating. We're all immigrants. Everyone wants to be home in their home country. So we're all operating from a place of hurt, adjusting to a new country. I'm sure they were being bullied too. So I was a new kid, me and my brother. So I guess it was easier to pick on us at the time. And, it wasn't popular to be Haitian and broken until recently anyway. So, yeah.
Right. So do you feel like leaving Haiti and coming to study in the US, has it been worth it, migrating and getting whatever professional credentials you've gotten and exposure, and now being able to go back and support your dad's legacy?
Yes, it definitely has been worth it. I wouldn't be who I am today without the education that I received in the States. I'll give that to America. The opportunities are there. But unfortunately, those opportunities are there because they destabilize our country, remove the opportunities in our country. So we have no choice but to see the opportunities there as the only way up there. But yeah, I am grateful for the education that I've gotten, the things that I've learned, the conferences I was able to to go to and attend. I am grateful, but it never felt like home.
I'm thinking about maybe a Haitian American person who might be listening to your interview when this gets posted.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could speak to any particular faux pas, which is like a social mishap or mistake that you may have made while you were here, and what would you encourage your fellow Haitian Americans like not to do socially to kind of keep them out of,
Mm-hmm.
sort of settings or sort of conflicts with people socially?
The number one thing I would say is don't be a part of the people who speak negatively about Haiti socially, because that's where you get into, to me, the biggest arguments. We people don't speak on things that you don't know. Like when I speak on things I'm not 100% sure, I'm like, okay, go fact check me, please. Like it's along the lines of what I'm saying, but go get the details. Don't be a part of the people that speak negatively about your home, because when it's all said and done, when you look at the crime rate in the DR, when you look at the crime rate in other countries, they're much higher in Haiti. And there's a specific reason why ours is in front of everyone, is because we speak negatively of Haiti more than anything. And most of the arguments I've gotten into socially is with other Haitians. I'm like, dang, like this is your home. Educate yourself first before speak negatively of home. And to stay out of trouble in the States, I would say, don't be judgmental. Like our parents, they're operating from a place of pain. So we don't have to be as judgmental, as cold. I don't say cold-hearted, but as cold to other cultures and other ways of life, especially when it comes to the African American community. I had to understand the impact that the 80s had on them. Like Haiti, we had poverty, but the drugs that were intentionally introduced to the African American in the 80s, we didn't have that. So that pain that they're operating for is so much more deeper than us. So try to understand others, give grace to other nationalities, and understand that whatever it is that you see on TV and on the news, it's intentional. It's set to separate us. So go do your research before you open your mouth. You don't have to have an opinion on everything. You can just listen and just leave it at that. So that's what I would say.
Yes, very well said. To give grace and listen more than we want to respond or share our own, which is why we have this space here, is to ask people from different places, different worlds that we're not exposed to. Like, tell me your story. We're creating a human library rather than just taking it from a TV screen. Hear it from somebody who's actually walked the walk,
And I would say too, I have an 11:30, but to start looking at people for who they are. So after those boys spit at us, I shut off white people completely. That was my first and practically last experience. And then this work has shown me that I have to look at people for who they are. The same way there are Haitians and Black people who are completely against their community, there are some who love their communities as well. The same way there are racist other nationalities, there are others who are genuinely kind people. So I've matured enough to learn that look at people for who they are. And the whole Black, white, like that's all media trying to separate people. Look at their character. And now I'm more in a space where I'm interested in who you are as opposed to what you look like. Because people are going to do what people are going to do, is just focus on the character so we can move past all of this, all the smoke, all the little ways that people try to divide us that don't matter. And let's just focus on who that person is at the core. And there'll be way less social problems.
Right. That's good wisdom there. So it's said that success leaves clues. What do you know now that you wish you did at the start of your immigrant journey?
It's okay not to fit in. I was a little nerd and I came to the States and I wanted to, there weren't a lot of Haitians. So, people are tribal. So I gravitated towards the African-American community. And I wanted to change how I talk, change how I dress, to try to fit in. And that's where most of the problem came, when you lose your authenticity. And I wish I knew early on that it's completely okay to be that little nerd and to like nerds. I don't have to like the bad boys and it's okay not to fit in. It pays off to me. It pays off in the future not to fit in. That's really what I wish I could tell my younger self. Like, keep not fitting in. It's okay.
Right. For those who might be younger and struggling listening to your story, it can be hard at times because I relate to what you're saying as well. So I wonder then, just to wrap up for today, what final advice may you have for immigrants in general who are considering migrating to the US or any other country, for instance? Maybe there's a push factor, for example, if there's a war, there's a natural disaster, political unrest in their home country, and they have to consider leaving. Or perhaps they're making a choice, right? There's a pull factor where there's a job opportunity in the US or somewhere else that's pulling them. What advice would you say to make their experience in the United States a fruitful one? What would you lend? Any advice that you have?
To me, it would be not to turn your back on home, because you could be as successful as you can be, but if you completely forget where you're from, to me, you're not successful. It's not a complete experience. If you can go back home to help, go back home. If the experience is so traumatizing that you cannot go back home, find a trusted grassroots organization, the mom and pops, the little sisters, the little brothers at the community level where you are, who are genuinely trying to help. My biggest thing is not to turn your back on home and give back. If you can go back and be that human resources, go back and volunteer, be that person that your community back home can look up to, and do not speak negatively on your home, because all of that affects. If you turn your back on home, no matter what you tell yourself, America will never, you will have your home, it won't be home, if that makes sense. It's not home. So what your heritage, what your grandparents left for you, that little land, your great grandparents, that's your home. Fight for your home as much as possible. Protect your home as possible while you're trying to build your life abroad. Make life back home a little more, improve the quality of life for someone back home, so that that you're protecting your heritage, even if you're doing it from afar. But to me, to have a complete full circle experience abroad, it requires that you give back to the people who can't do it without you. That would be my advice.
So as you climb, you try to pull up, right? That's usually
Yes.
the encouragement, giving back a bit to your
Yes.
community and those who are not able to have the opportunities that you may have. So to finally today, if you'd like to, we're going to put a call to action out there for people who are able to financially support what you're doing in Haiti, for people who might be able to support in any other way the need that exists in the medical community and the gap that you're trying to fill. How do people find you online? How do they find your services? How do they support you? Just put some details out there as well. We will get more details from you and put in the show notes, but a call to action for anybody who might listen to your episode and might want to support what you're doing. How do they find you?
Yeah, so to summarize, what I'm doing in Haiti is doing my very, very best to move the hospitals and the schools that we support out of survival mode. It's hard to be creative. It's hard to become sustainable if you're literally trying to make payroll every month, if you're trying to have enough money to pay teachers and get supplies every month. I want these hospitals and schools to be in the position where, like my dad, for example, now he's thinking big picture, long term, but it's because he can take a deep breath now. So it's hard to be creative when you're in survival mode. So I want to move our communities out of survival mode towards sustainability. The foundation's website is www.CHarlieH Hospital F Fountain Foundation, so chffoundation.com. And you'll see, I did the website, is nothing fancy, but you'll see the big picture of what we do. And the call to action would be to please make a donation, whatever it is that you can make. If you can become a monthly donor, I don't care if it's $5, $10, $20, $100, whatever it is that you can make on a monthly basis, hopefully for a year, that puts us closer to sustainability, knowing that, okay, that's $5 less to worry about. I can plan a little better. We can become more efficient. My goal is to implement strong business practices, because I've noticed if we were able to make that much progress in 4 years, good business plans, business models, and business systems work in Haiti too. So these donations are not just to help that little girl get food, but it's to help these hospitals and schools operate better, to offer better service to their community. We try to create jobs for people. We send them to school. We send our staff to school, etc. To find me personally, Instagram is what I'm most active on. It's Kareen, Kareen, as in Nancy, _Ulysse, Ulysse. You can DM me. Wi-Fi in Haiti sucks, so I don't see it often. But Instagram is the best way, DM, to see me, and I mean to contact me. And the website as well, if you use the message on there. But monthly donors is definitely what we need, so we can plan long term, because there's no way, so we can have a 5-year plan and work towards that.
And it sounds like you're probably the only hospital that's operable, is you were saying, right?
Yes, ma'am, we are. And the people really don't have it. We don't like to offer free services to people, but they really, we like to say, they don't got it. They haven't been to work in months. A lot of the jobs where they could have gone to work, the founders, the business owners left Haiti, and they then positioned the business to be able to function without them, which is one of the things my vision for this foundation is get the hospital and that first hospital, first school, okay to operate without us, so we can move on to the next hospital and do it again, and fix and flip hospitals and schools throughout Haiti. But yeah, we are the only ones. And which is why UNICEF and all the big guys now, they're really paying attention to us. They're like, whoa, how are you able to make this happen? But they're very specific about what they help. You're like, well, you got UNICEF, you don't need help. No, they're very specific. They're like women and children. A hospital is way more than women and children. So it's going to take all of us for a very long time to get it done.
It seems like you find your calling on indirectly, right? This sounds like such a lifelong project that you are pouring yourself into, and I'm sure being led by the divine to figure this out. It's way bigger than you, so I can imagine every day you wake up and trying to figure out, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Every day I wake up stressed, but with a smile on my face. It's a big responsibility. I read this book. It's like, don't try to fill a big man's shoes. I'm definitely not trying to I cannot do it the way my dad did. But it's like, this is big, because, I would love to have someone say, here's $1 million, and maybe say, Papi, here's $1 million, just to see what he would do with it. Like when you get older, our parents become our babies. So I would love to see his dream, like if he could just put it all, because he fought for this moment so hard, and I'd like to see all of it come true. So it's stressful, but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Right. Well, God bless you, my dear. You have a huge heart, and we wish you much success. And, we welcome you back anytime that you need access to the audience. And we hope that people who listen will find it in their heart to make a donation. We'll post on social media, we'll release the episode.
Even if they don't donate financially, just to educate themselves on Haiti and to be part of the few who refuse to accept that sob story narrative. There are great people in Haiti doing great work. It's just that the people who are ruining the country, they're louder, they're more violent, they're bolder, they have more weapons. But there are millions more good people in Haiti. They're just scared. They're just scared. And what I'm trying to do with the foundation through projects and stuff like that is to give them a voice. Like, here's this education project I'm trying to do. How many small business owners can I hire in that project? The people that I know would do well, would do right and stuff. So just, if it's not financial, the kind words, the supportive words, sharing positive things about Haiti, that goes a long way in the mindset. That goes a long way.
But thank you so much for sharing your time with me.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You too. Have a blessed and positive day.
Tune in next week for another episode of The Immigrant Experience in America. As this is a new podcast, we welcome any and all support. If you have not done so already, subscribe on the Apple Podcast app, Google Podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen. You can also support us by completing a 5-star rating and review and sharing our podcast with your friends, family, and circle of influence.